Alright mates, gonna attempt a quick little video here, just some updates on the Z. Tonight installed the power trix strut tower bar or brace, hoping that makes a difference. Not having too many issues with the front end, but been doing too much research, watching way too many videos, and I've ground out all the factory little glue that holds the panels together here, and I've replaced them with little stitch welds. Haven't seen any videos about how to reinforce the chassis or where to do it. A lot of forums about it, so doing a little quick video here. I don't think anything on the top of this body needed reinforced. It's more so the overlapping panels underneath that are just terrible. Like big giant gaps between all the overlapping panels, so I've filled them in ever so slightly. Gonna clear coat them, go over them and whatnot. Did most of the deletes over the winter, EGR, evap, all the extra plastic and whatnot, hoping to relocate this under here like Zebra did online. Started pecking away at it, cleaning things up. There's a ton of extra stuff on these engines and in the engine bay that's unneeded. Did the Polar Engineering GTR coil pack kit. Had to get a computer chip with that to run them, so no more misfires. Yay. That was like my only issue with this beast. Did a strut tower bar, hoping to strengthen everything up. That's my main focus now. No apparent reason. Just because I needed something to do, you know? Watching too many videos. Got a new headlight on the way. The little socket's broken in here. Got the JWT single intake on the front. Hoping to clean up the engine bay and make it a little more pretty, a little more functional. Got the Spec front bumper, which I love. Got to fill it in with a mesh material there. I did get the Z1 under shroud, aluminum under shrouds for the front and rear. Hoping to just keep all the wires that I locate under here and up front clean. Got the LEDs up front with the amber backlight and the smoked turn signals. Nice combination. Just doing everything I can to this beast, keeping me busy. Got some, can't remember what it is, tokico or something. Suspension in there, Megan lowering springs. It's a little soft. I fiddled with the adjustments a little bit. Hardly any clearance, but surprisingly doesn't rub up front. The wheels came with the vehicle. Had to replace a fender and paint the hood a couple times. Get it back from the body shop. Buddy ended up buttoning it up for me. Did some interior work, just stitching everything back together, making sure all the hardware was tight and fastened. My phone mount was always loose, so I screwed it back together. I replaced and fastened all the interior parts that hold up the little sunroof covers. Hoping to do sound deadening on the entire thing. I've done that on a lot of other vehicles, and it's just a fun process and lets you see all the little nooks and crannies and address anything that needs to be done. This is probably unnecessary as well. Some body reinforcements. Did the antenna deletes, all the windshield wiper deletes. Got all up in here. Sound deadened the entire rear. Everything under here is done and clean. Super clean. Everything's covered. Does sound better. Of course, I did all the sound deadening before I did my proper research, and I had to take a lot of it out to get some stitch welds. This is definitely a problematic area, just a lot of gaps here. So a friend of mine stitch welded a bunch of those little gaps there, hoping to get some rigidity out of it. Looks terrible. That's the butyl or whatever from the sound deadening. Did get a little tack on the inside of there, a tack weld right there, some tacks where you know, wherever I could that I didn't cover up already. Gonna do the rear strut bar or strut tower bar here. It looks like I have to jack up the rear end because there's definitely not enough room to fit it in now. Covered up most of this in the rear. This little guy is pretty noisy. The ABS thing's always chirping at me, making funny noises. So went under everything I could. Gonna eventually do the rear, mainly focusing on the doors at this point. I don't think the pillars or anything are that necessary, but just wanted to do an update. You know, anybody hasn't seen the inside of one of these or knows where to reinforce them. I don't even know where to reinforce it. I just anywhere I could. While I had this thing ripped apart was my wildest dreams. My friend wasn't too happy about it. He doesn't think any of this is necessary. Neither do I, but it keeps me busy at night, you know what I'm saying? Gonna install that. Looks like I have a template. I'm not good at following instructions, so we'll see how this goes. Looks like I have to do some cutting, which I am, you know, I don't know, I guess comfortable with. Give it a whirl. So that's the rear, what I've been working on. I did roll the fenders to fit these super wide tires. They do not rub on this side. I am having some issues with the off and on ramps rubbing on this side. I did stiffen this ever so slightly. It was a lot softer than the other one. I might do a couple more turns on that, jack it up, put that strut tower bar or brace on it, and then see how it goes. I did little things like this just to cushion it. Sound deadened behind here. This stuff drives me nuts. It's all broken old plastic. You know, you screw something into it, just sounds awful. I had to zip tie it until I can get a, you know, new couple plastic pieces that aren't just destroyed. But sound deadened the license plate. There was a leak in the bottom of the fenders. I actually put some great stuff in there, and I went around the corners too. It's probably not a good idea. I actually, after reading more about foam, am not going to do foam in the chassis or strut tower areas. I was planning on like filling all these members with that hardening foam, and I looked all into it, talked to a bunch of painters and body guys, and they see a lot of cars that are rusted from that. So I'm not gonna do it. Opted out. Just gonna do everything else that I seem necessary, which probably isn't. But other than that, until my next project, I ordered a rear sway bar from a twin turbo model. I've heard they're like 10 millimeters thicker. So definitely gonna do that next. Do the front fender braces for no apparent reason, just to do it. Waste money. Gotta go through the exhaust a little bit. This old pesky heat shields everywhere. Oh my goodness. Eventually I'd like to, you know, take off the cats and just straight pipe the thing. I do have a twin turbo rear exhausts, which does not matter at all. They're OEM. All they are is like a 1/2 inch larger diameter. I'm gonna swap out the sway bar. I do have a question that I do not know the answer to. The rear sway bar mounts, I don't know if they are the same as in the naturally aspirated version as they are in the twin turbo. I understand they're 10 millimeters difference. I don't know if the bearing thickness accommodates for that, or in fact if I need new mounting hardware. I can't seem to figure out if the part numbers are the same. So once I get everything, oh, this is disgusting, don't judge me, but everything under there is completely covered in the sound deadening, except the little areas that, you know, the fuel pumps are in. So just covering everything, gonna stitch it back up. I was waiting to put the interior back together until I got the strut tower bars, and I'm gonna do some cutting tonight, mates. Should be fun. Do some driving tomorrow. It's just the way it is. Trying to stiffen the rear end. That's mainly it. I'm not gonna do a front strut tower or a front sway bar, because I understand they're only like 1.5 millimeters difference between the naturally aspirated and the twin turbo or the 2+2 models, so not necessary, I don't believe. Hopefully the strut bar does enough for me and I can get enough out of tuning my suspension and whatnot. That guy slipped right on. I opted from taking this out. I heard you're supposed to, because it touches, and it does. But that's about it. Until next time, mates, probably rip out the seats, do some interior work, and I'll let you know how that goes. Let me know if you have any questions.